The main responsibility of evacuation now falls less on the medic and more on the driver. The biggest issue is how will the vehicle get out? And how many wheels will it have when it comes back?
Right, y'all, welcome back to Combat Arms channel. Okay, today we're checking out another video from United 24. Now, this one is one that I've wanted to check out for a while. Not this specific video, but this kind of video is checking out more of kind of like the perspective or point of view of the medics or the medical personnel. Not just like specifically the combat medics kind of like on the front line, but also just all the kind of medical personnel assisting, whether it be like, you know, the second, third level of care. It's really interesting to kind of see their perspective. And I've seen a few videos, some that I can't react to just because of like how graphic everything was. Like I'd need to censor everything like crazy, or, you know, it kind of risks just getting blocked or what have you. And most of those videos weren't actually originally on YouTube, so that's kind of why it's a little bit dodgy. But this one is from United 24, so pretty solid coverage, as we already know from them. But again, kind of seeing the perspective of the medical personnel, especially one that's kind of more comprehensive, more kind of like better access, is nice to see. Because the ones that I've seen, it's cool to see because like it's usually just someone who kind of works in that unit, and they're kind of like doing almost like a vlog kind of sense, but also kind of talking with some of the staff. But it's not necessarily as fully comprehensive. It doesn't provide as much background to kind of understand fully what their workload is really looking like. So hopefully this gives us a good perspective. It's only about 7.5 minutes long, but with United 24, I think they do a pretty good job of kind of like wrapping everything together and giving us some good insight into these medical personnel, because this is a tough job. And it's a tough job when all the conditions are like perfect and you have like all the supplies you need. And as we know, that's definitely not the case when it comes to, you know, the support personnel in Ukraine. I think this one's going to be pretty humbling and pretty eye-opening as well. So let's check it out.
If medics have nothing to do, that means the infantry is doing a great job.
Units of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine
or just getting lucky
with very specific, complex operations.
Everyone is trying to hunt you down.
Everyone wants to take out the medevac vehicle, knowing there are wounded inside, knowing there are medics inside.
Again, that's like such an interesting perspective, because like I'm talking from the American military, where, you know, we have the Geneva Convention. We were pretty good about abiding by that. Like targeting a medical vehicle or just medics in general, very, very much frowned upon. But I mean, of course, when we're talking about Russia, I'm not too surprised, especially with like FPV drones. Now, with that disconnect, I think, you know, it might be pretty easy to see like any vehicle and just target it with like an FPV drone, just because like it's a target of opportunity. But, you know, you're not going to expect Russia, at least specifically, to kind of get that positive identification that it's not that. So it's kind of really shitty to think of that. There's not even like any kind of security that you're going to get like a gentleman's agreement that you're not going to be targeted. And I mean, even more so, you're going to be more targeted because of what you're doing, and also just the morale aspect. If all your medics are getting targeted and, you know, like you don't really have that capability, or that capability is getting targeted, that's going to be a really tough feeling, especially coming from like an infantry perspective. That's got to be a really scary thing.
One is trying to hunt you down.
Everyone wants to take out the medevac vehicle, knowing there are wounded inside, knowing there are medics inside.
Dude.
My call sign is Ever. I'm the commander of the medical unit
Looks like they got
of
some
the
US
2nd
Army
Detachment of the International Legion under
garments.
the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine.
Like issued garments.
I'm Lisa, 28 years old, and I'm a medical evacuation medic in the International Legion of the Defense Intelligence of Ukraine, Snake Medical Group.
Snake. It's a cool name.
Oh,
I guess, yeah, the
and I am
medical snake.
The medical evacuation from the field. So it's case-evac, medevac, ATVs.
I'm not sure if that's where the name derived.
All other stuff that is moving.
Dude, ATV medevac.
We split our unit into different segments.
It's got to be a bumpy ride, but hey,
but within it, there are people who handle medevac, some do casevac, others go directly into the field to retrieve the wounded from the line of contact.
Damn. Yeah, I really want to see what kind of supplies they get too.
A combat medic is someone who directly enters the field and is, first and foremost, a fighter, who also performs medical functions on the battlefield.
Okay, so they're giving like kind of like a And this is kind of, I like how they're kind of more talking about what a combat medic is, because a combat medic is very different from like, you know, a trauma surgeon, or kind of more those like second and third level of care. Combat medic, you know, you can kind of talk more about what it's like on the front line, kind of to that second level of care. I mean, combat medics, you'll see them everywhere, but dealing more specifically with like the kind of more immediate or the higher priority, or kind of reacting to things like in a kind of more compressed time frame than everybody else. Like you're kind of doing that triage or that initial treatment, and that's where you really have to have like your head together, because under pressure is one thing, but under pressure of like combat or kind of like a combat injury, it takes a lot to kind of be able to triage that and understand what to do next, especially with the equipment that you're provided with. Because you can imagine you have to get pretty flexible if you run out of something. And with medical supplies, like you run out of stuff way quicker than you expect. Like gauze, you can have like a stupid amount of gauze. You can go through that super quick. Tourniquets, especially, like you can never have too many tourniquets. So like you'll go through stuff quickly, and then once you run out of that, you kind of just need to be flexible. So having like a good head on you is like definitely crucial. And I imagine these guys are probably gonna, I mean, they can talk up and down of what it means to kind of have that flexibility.
A combat medic is someone who directly enters the field and is, first and foremost, a fighter, who also performs medical functions on the battlefield. Ideally, before a wounded person reaches us in medevac, they're being treated by a combat medic, someone who can both fight and repel an attack, and also give aid.
I don't know what happened to him, but they got
The DIU
two tourniquets
units
on the
face
legs.
very specific, complex missions. I think that's no
Yeah.
secret. Right now,
I mean,
we have
look at that
personnel
terrain that they're
capable
dealing
of
with.
entering the field, providing aid, evacuating the wounded or KIA by themselves. That allows the assault units to finish their mission.
Yeah, that's awesome to have
Storm the
that.
target, hold it, set up ambushes, etc.
If the assault unit had to like completely focus on that the entire time,
we did a couple of
you're
times
losing
this
like
type
2 or
of
3 people.
movements, when we was also going out together with the like infantry teams out in the field, making the CCPs out in the field, like in
So
the
casualty collection
bunkers,
point.
or like out in the trenches. It's always possible that you're gonna need to do that.
Yeah, oh my gosh, a CCP out in the field. Oh my gosh, talking about like CCP planning as well. I mean, this is all something like when you're kind of planning certain things, you'll have like the medical input, which is, I mean, a combat medic helps a lot when it comes to stuff like that, because I mean, I remember when I was trying to designate like CCP areas when I was like an infantry squad leader, until I really started working with the corpsmen and the medics. Like I would put a CCP where it was kind of convenient, and I wasn't necessarily thinking about some of the more common sense stuff about like, you know, maybe what's the best spots in relation to kind of getting them out, or the certain amount, like the kind of treatment that they needed. The places maybe that you decide aren't going to be as suitable as like what a combat medic can provide. And that's just kind of like one level of like why it's nice to have a combat medic and have that medical expertise, because the infantry, they're going to kind of do whatever they can, and whatever, it's usually going to end up falling to convenience, which is unfortunate. But if you can kind of plan that stuff beforehand, or have someone on the ground who can kind of find the best spots, it takes a massive amount of pressure off of the infantry leadership.
In this
Memorable.
line of work, you constantly have to
Memorable
look for
sounds like
memorable or
a
warm
positive
moments.
thing.
From funny situations during evacuations to being lucky not to get hit by a mortar. 100% Donetsk region, Chasiv Yar.
Golly, what was that?
Last year, the
A
part
lot
of
of blood.
summer we spent there. We were working very actively.
Yeah, Chasiv
the
Yar
stories
was the
they
golden
could tell.
hour for our team. We had plenty of job. It was like evacuations every day.
Dude.
From one side, it's pretty bad that
Unfazed.
someone was wounded, but from other side, it was a good experience for us to evacuate them.
There was one particular task, I won't say where, but we were preparing
Yeah, it's
for a
very
multi-stage
bittersweet.
evacuation. First, We carried the wounded on foot to a certain point.
You've got to be in such good shape for that too.
Then we transported him by boat.
You cannot
Then an armored
underestimate
vehicle took over. And only after that,
the
the
physical toll on
medevac
them.
picked him up. And only then did he get to a hospital.
Dude, several layers.
We calculated that the
Transport.
evacuation part, if everything went well, would have taken about 4 hours.
Dude, 4 hours.
When we reached our previous location, we ran into remote mining and an overwhelming number of FPV drones and drone-dropped explosives.
Oh my god, they're
All at once.
hauling ass.
Every time you didn't know what to react to first.
I thought they were gonna roll that thing.
In the direction we're currently working, we know that an evacuation takes at least 3 to 4 hours under the best conditions.
I mean,
In the
yeah,
worst
that makes
case,
sense.
a wounded
Fuck.
person might stay in the area for 1, 2, even 3 days.
Dude.
The main responsibility
And it's hard to get a good appreciation because a lot of times when we see like these videos, we kind of, I mean, they're what, maybe 15 minutes long. So like 4 minutes into the video, 5 minutes, maybe someone gets injured, and towards the end of the video, you kind of see the evacuation. But I mean, you're not really appreciating or understanding how much time is actually coming in between and what it means and what it takes to actually get all of that support out there. Because we've seen some crazy. There was one video that we were watching where like I think it was like some M113s or something. They came out while there was like tank fire or something, or right after a tank had come through, and they just got them and then like bolted out of there, which is pretty ballsy. But like, yeah, you kind of just get desensitized to what it takes to get all that arranged.
of evacuation now falls less on the medic and more on the driver. The
And
biggest
just the
issue is
guts.
how will the vehicle get out
To do that.
and how many
What?
wheels will it have when it comes back.
That was fucking crazy.
Yes, it's
They're
kind
still
of
hauling
dangerous
ass.
because everyone is trying to hunt you down. When we're doing like after
So I'm saying, like, the
review
footage-
or report, then we realize that something like that, a lot of
All
stuff
put
could
together.
go wrong. And then
see
you're
so much.
sitting like and thinking, oh yeah, I was pretty lucky that nothing happened.
My drivers know that if they go out on an evacuation, they will 100% hit mines. That's already
100%.
normal for us. That's why
Yeah.
now they use fully armored vehicles.
Golly,
For
they're
example,
just
about
fucking
6 months ago, we evacuated
through
soldiers from a
mines.
neighboring unit with this particular car. The vehicle had just turned onto the road, hit about 10 mines on the way in,
Dude.
and 4 or 5 more on the way
That's
out.
that is impressive. That's awesome
it
that they
held.
have that
Got the people
that
out.
armor.
And all because of proper planning and analysis of the battlefield.
I mean, just think of the units that don't have those vehicles, though. Fuck, it's got to be terrifying. Like a Humvee or something.
We
Humvee
need to
hitting one of
move
those mines.
toward unmanned systems, ground-based robotic platforms, and UAVs. Why? Because we can drop off additional supplies to medics.
Oh,
We're already
okay.
doing that,
True
whether
that.
it's blood or other needed equipment.
Dude, a drone carrying
But
blood
evacuation will always be necessary.
onto the front line.
task
Sounds
is as
so
simple as it gets.
dystopian.
Pick up a wounded soldier and get him to a designated point.
I believe that you're always gonna need to have the manpower, because, as example, if you use like the robotic drone to evacuate someone, it can get hit, it can get
sounds-
jammed by the EW, it can get
like Estonian?
like the battery, something can happen with it, and then it's gonna be
Let me know if I'm completely off.
the manpower is gonna be involved into the process of the evacuation.
Because we simply don't have a choice. You can't just turn around and say, sorry, we can't.
True
As long as
that.
guys are stuck out in the field, we have to do everything to make sure the infantry can keep fighting.
Man, and I mean, talking as an infantryman myself, that means a whole lot. I mean, we would do anything for our guys, but medics, like, it's no question. In the infantry aspect, you're kind of talking more about like, okay, resourcing and continuing the fight and keeping that in the back of your minds. Like, what can you work, or how can you kind of spread load the work, and medics, they'll just jump into it, which is Yeah, it's awesome. I have a lot of respect for people who want to be combat medics. So yeah, pretty much as impressive of a video as I thought from United 24. I mean, again, it's cool to kind of have like the vlog, the kind of POV of one person in one of these units and the work that they can get up to. But for United 24 to kind of have all of that like placement and access to have all of this footage, all these interviews. And I mean, I know this is like one specific unit, like the snake unit or whatever. So they have that, but they also have the background. And of course, like the footage provides a lot more kind of like insight understanding of like what it looks like. I mean, we've seen a lot of the videos, but again, a lot of them don't show the medical perspective of like how it works when you have, I mean, we saw one video where you had the medic who is inside of the trench, and then there was like tanks driving by and stuff too, and they were trying to do medical aid. That is like an insane perspective, but just like kind of understanding the battlefield scenarios and the situations that they're dealing with. Like, again, under ideal circumstances, the work is brutal and it's tough and it's mentally taxing. But to be a combat medic on the front line, actively engaged in combats in like the worst situations possible, you need to have a strong mind, even while you're doing all of this stuff, while your mind's being as challenged as it possibly could in active like combat and warfare in a firefight, but also just in like the worst environments with equipment that might not necessarily be up to par to what you actually need. It takes someone to take all of that and still come out successful, and just to keep doing that like day in and day out, to work in crazy hours. Like, again, when we're talking about Ukraine, they don't really have the option because these are their homes and their futures, their families' futures at stake. But that does not discount the amount of work that is going into these specific types of missions or units. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you guys have any experience working in like the combat medic realm, and you can kind of provide insight as to what you're seeing or what might be helpful, or even how humbling it might be or how challenging it looks from your perspective as a medical professional to deal with all of this in these kinds of scenarios, throw that down below, because it'd be interesting to kind of hear from your perspective. As someone who, I mean, I've done a lot of kind of like medical training, and I'm generally interested in kind of like understanding how to approach a certain situation, and I'm pretty comfortable in those situations. But at the same time, like it's on a level that's very alien to me. And again, even having the comfort that I do, even like a combat medic who's been doing it for years, until they're in a situation like this, it's going to be very, very different. It's going to be kind of hard to relate to that. So I can kind of just sit here and just be very humbled and respect the amount of work that they're putting in here. But hopefully y'all enjoyed the commentary. Definitely let me know down below what you guys think. And if you have any videos to recommend specifically for like medical units, definitely throw that down below. Even if it's not like, if you can kind of like reference something off of YouTube as well, or articles or what have you, I'm always willing to check that out as well. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, if you guys did, definitely consider subscribing to the channel and recommending more stuff so we can kind of increase our community and also kind of have me better understand what y'all are interested in. But that was it for this video. I'll see y'all in the next one.